Hello, I'm back. This is Gail, obviously, because my face, my name right there. Anyhow, if you're joining, please drop a comment and let me know you're here. Let me know who you are. And yeah, so I earlier started talking about how to create an ecosystem to sustain yourself. And it was sort of a meandering ad hoc thing, and I thought, well, yeah, here's the topic, and maybe this should be explored a little bit more with some structure. So, structure. Now we have structure, and so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to do an actual talk on this. I'm excited, so I hope you enjoy it, and I will look for comments and things at the end. Just how I'm going to share my screen and stuff. I won't be able to see things. So yeah, feel free to put comments and questions and whatnot into the chat, and we'll go from there. Okay. All right. So. All right. How to create an ecosystem to sustain yourself. These are highlights of what I've done to create and curate a thriving ecosystem. And have spelling errors. Anyhow, so a few disclaimers on this. I don't know everything, obviously. So I just this is all based on my experience and my observations of doing this over a couple of iterations, excuse me, from completely changing my ecosystem and community and support system from elementary school to high school, and going in and not really knowing anyone and having to start over, doing that again, going into college, and then doing that again when I moved into the workforce. And then again, when we moved to Pennsylvania and really took the bottom out of the support system. And now, as I have been working online for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, 7 years, and what this process has looked like for me, and in trying to create an ecosystem that will support my ambitious nature and my drive to always be growing and challenging myself and wanting to do better with all the things, basically. So I know that I need an ecosystem and a support system that will encourage me and then remind me to slow down when I need to. And so this is some of my process of how I've done that. There is not a magic easy button. It takes time. And being intentional with how you do it will make all the difference. So setting yourself up for success is how I'm going to lay this out. So first things first, why do you need other people? I mean, maybe you don't actually, but they can be helpful. But for the most part, humans need other humans for a variety of things. You might not need them all the time, but you definitely need them a little. Sometimes being an entrepreneur really sucks. There's loneliness involved. You can be surrounded by people and still feel like you're alone. If you are feeling that way, I get you. It's why we are doing this entrepreneur hotline. And it's why we're here, because we understand. So if that is you, let us know. We're here. Come talk to us. Yeah. So needing other people. I need other people, even if I don't want to be around them all the time. Okay, this is funny. So I left this in like this, how to use them well, so you don't get sassy. I thought this was funny. Um, so know what your goals are on your interactions with other people. Ask an expert if you're not sure, and then take advantage of the help pages. There are so many resources of how to interact with others, how to interact with people, how to interact with people who don't share the same views as you, how to ask questions, how to start really hard conversations. One of those resources is the legacy recorder. It happens to be mine. You can go check that out. Um, but take advantage of the resources that are available. There's so many suggestions on how to interact with others and how to ask for help. There's absolutely no reason to not take advantage of those resources. And platform obviously isn't true, but know how you want to utilize the interaction. So creating your ecosystem is first steps is deciding what do you need? What do you need as a human? What do you need as an individual? What is important and imperative to your own success and to your own ability to move forward towards what you want? You also have to know what you want first. So if you don't know that, you should spend some time doing that. The other thing in this is to be selfish. Be selfish in creating your ecosystem. This is something that these are your boundaries. These are your this is your opportunity to create and curate a space where you can flourish, where you can grow, where you can rest when you need to, and you have the opportunity to surround yourself with people who will help you embrace all of those things. Knowing what your goals are for your entrepreneurial ventures is really important in creating your ecosystem. If you want to scale, you want to go big or go home, and you want to go and like blow up and have this massive impact and reach millions of people, then you need to be thinking about building an ecosystem that will do that. And it doesn't mean that you have to have that built right away, but you need to always be thinking about the larger picture of where you're trying to go. Setting goals. So how we set goals, there's so much information on how to set goals. I am not an expert, but I know that setting goals is one way to be intentional about what you're doing. How I set goals is I define success. I define what success looks like for me on a variety of metrics. So I use qualitative and quantitative metrics. I write them down. I write these metrics down, these milestones, and in order to have a written log for myself, but also to have an opportunity to reference it later, and it also burns it into my brain. So it's always a reminder of when I want and like see something shiny or I see a squirrel or whatever, I want to like go do this other thing. I can say, okay, Gail, does it line up with this goal you wrote down? If not, it needs to just stay over there. Look to people who have done it before you. When you're setting your goals, other people have probably done something similar to what you're trying to do, and looking at what they have done, looking at what they have done in the past, currently, and what they're reaching for, will help you determine, might help you get some inspiration on your goals if you're not sure. You can also look at what were they reaching for? Like, did they just want to do this like one level of things and then they went, or did they want to go and they like hung out right here? And you can also see, maybe where they made some choices that kept them small, or where they went really big, but they wanted to stay small. So determine where you want to go. Setting your goals, defining success, that all comes into determining where you want to go with what you're doing. Assets. Chances are you already know a ton of humans that can help you and that are probably already a part of your ecosystem. So who do you know already? Who do your friends and family know? And who have you worked with in the past? These are all people who can be part of your ecosystem, part of your support system as an entrepreneur. And it doesn't mean that they have to know all the things all the time, but many of them will probably have something that will help support you in what you are doing, or they know someone who has something that can support you in what you're doing. Looking forward, you notice this is a theme, setting goals, looking forward, defining success, like that, how do they say eyes on the prize? I don't know if that's an Americanism or not. So looking forward, who do you want to work with? So who you worked with the last 5 years doesn't have to be who you work with for the next 5 years. That's something that I've been working really hard at is when I'm being asked a question or when I'm thinking about answering a question in regards to planning and looking forward, is that just because I did it yesterday and I'm doing it today doesn't mean I want to do it tomorrow. And that has helped me reframe what my ecosystem looks like, and how those pieces interact with each other. So also looking forward, what do you want your ecosystem to look like in 1 year? What will it look like in 3 years? And what will it look like in 5 years? So that's kind of like your 5-year planning, but it's also understanding that you can set a lofty goal for 5 years. But if you don't have the ecosystem and the support system to back it up, it isn't going to make a difference. And it's going to be really painful getting there. What will you be able to accomplish with your ecosystem behind you? Will you be able to reach those lofty goals? I think you probably can. If you're in this entrepreneurial journey, that it is all about showing up and doing the work. So with the ecosystem, doing the work, and creating your own opportunities, I believe you will find the success you are driving towards. So what are some tools to start finding your people? I love tools. So I made a list of all the different ways, all the different kinds of places, tools, things I've used. So Shaper. Shaper is like, I explain it kind of funny. So Shaper is like Tinder for networking. Yes, I said it. Shaper is Tinder for networking. So it is integrated with LinkedIn. It is an app on your phone. I believe there's a desktop app now too. I've been on it for a number of years, but it integrates with LinkedIn, pulls your LinkedIn information. You're able to select different things that you want to get matched with. And then it like automatically matches you with people. And you can swipe left or swipe right and decide if you want to connect with that person on Shaper. And then it's up to you and the other person. If you have a mutual connection, you can message each other and decide if you want to further the networking relationship or not. Facebook is, I skipped LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is, there's been, I think, a larger push, at least in my circles, to be using LinkedIn and leveraging LinkedIn. But it is a really great way to see who knows who, how different introductions can be made. And I'm not encouraging you to go message everybody and their mother. What I am encouraging you to do is investigate and see where your circles overlap. See where your networking circles overlap, see who knows who. And then if you find a potential connection that you would like to make and you know someone who knows that person, you can reach out to the person you know and say, hey, I noticed we're connected with so-and-so. This is why I want to talk to them. Would you mind making an introduction? And there you go. You've just broadened your ecosystem a little bit. And then, of course, it's up to the other person if they're going to say yes to that or not. And there's a couple more steps. But that's a way to use LinkedIn. Facebook. Facebook is in the same realm of things. So there's lots of Facebook groups running around, lots of different ways to connect with people and lots of different ways to connect with people, so many different groups. But it is a great way to find people who are trying to also build their own ecosystems. I kind of mentioned this in the list, but niche groups, industry groups, those are all in LinkedIn and Facebook. And those are places where people are congregating that are in the same industries, in the same niche. And I'm in writers groups, I'm in project management groups, I'm in marketing groups, I'm in just these different groups because it gives me an opportunity, especially, it's really neat when you're in a group and you can see that you're connected with someone. It's also kind of creepy, but you can see that you're connected with someone, and for me, it's a really great intro. I can say, "Hey, I noticed we're both in this group. How do you know so and so?" Or, "How did you end up here?" Or, "Tell me about yourself." And that's usually how I start those conversations. It is never let off with, "Buy my stuff," or, "Hey, this is why I know this, and you should come talk to me." And, "Oh, look, here's my group." Those are not ways to start meaningful conversations. If you're not sure about how to start meaningful conversations, go to thelegacyrecorder.com. I spend a lot of time talking about that over there. So, moving on to local chambers, don't underestimate the power of going to local networking stuff, and being a part of your local chamber, going and making the connections in person. I know it takes time. I know it's hard, and if you're in small areas, rural areas, places where this infrastructure isn't here, you're probably going to have to think a little bit farther outside the box, as to how you're connecting with people. It's one of the reasons I really started using Shaper, because I was able to connect with people who were in my nearest largest city, in addition to who I was connecting with on my local main street. Coworks. I did a whole segment on Coworks. So that's been a great way for me to build an ecosystem. And then virtual networking. There are starting to be virtual networking groups showing up. And there's also virtual networking within Facebook groups and that stuff. So be on the lookout for that. And I kind of covered the niche groups and the industry groups already. So we'll call this slide done. All right, now mapping it out. Now that you've thought about all that stuff, oh my goodness. Now it's time to gather all the info, and gathering the info can look however it looks like for you. If it's throwing it in a Google Doc, if it's putting it on a whiteboard, if it's writing everything on sticky notes and sticking it to your wall, whatever it is, gather it all up. And notice I don't say, go plan it all out and decide what you're going to do. No. Schedule time to dedicate to creating your ecosystem using your notes as a playbook. So your info is your notes, and scheduling time with yourself each week to think about it, daydreaming about it, and deciding what it looks like for you. And then once you do that and you start showing up for those appointments with yourself, set a check-in schedule with yourself, and then assess your success benchmarks that you set in the beginning. So using your goal setting, using those things, use those as your benchmarks. So as you schedule time with yourself and you go through this process of starting to map out and create your ecosystem, then you have benchmarks. How many did I connect with 5 new people that are going to help me do this? 5 new people that are going to help me do this, or 5 new potential leads, or did I get someone in my pipeline this month? Whatever it looks like for you. And that is mapping it out. So what now? To learn more, you can go to gaelix.com. I actually offer a program in this it's called Your Way Forward Plan. So it's figuring out how you're going to move forward with whatever it is you're working on. In this case, we were addressing creating an ecosystem. So Your Way Forward Plan is a process of going through and really digging in and outlining some of those components I talked about, plus more, and how those things can be pulled together into a map that you are able to use and go forward with and create your own way forward plan. And it is also a process that is repeatable. So you can go to gaelix.com to find out more information about that, and I will put a link to it in the comments. So that was the end of that talk. That was exciting. I enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed that. I think what we will do now is take a short recess. We'll take a recess. So yeah, if you have questions, throw them in the comments. I will be here answering them. So we will go into a live monitoring period. And I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day.